The shuttle door hissed open as the human stepped out onto the landing platform of Veltrax 9. His boots touched the polished metal floor with a soft thud. Behind him, the rest of the diplomatic crew stayed inside, busy with their equipment and protocol updates. But he, Cole, was already moving forward, his eyes scanning the unfamiliar sky, the twin moons glowing faintly behind thin greenish clouds. Veltrax 9 was quiet, too quiet. The planet was part of a new diplomatic outreach by Earth to establish peaceful trade and cultural exchanges with outer colonies. Humans were still new to the galactic scene, strange, unpredictable, and sometimes misunderstood. But Cole had been chosen for his calm nature, his curiosity, and his ability to speak gently in tense moments. As he walked toward the Grand Dome, a giant building made of glass-like stone and glowing veins of energy, he noticed something strange. People, aliens, had stopped moving. They stared. Some dropped what they were holding. Others whispered to each other in hushed tones, pointing at him with wide eyes. One child ran to her mother, hiding behind her robes. Cole stopped walking. His hand rested near his waist, not on a weapon, but on instinct. He didn't feel danger, just confusion, shock. From the top of the dome steps, a young woman stepped forward. She had pale blue-purplish skin, small elf-like ears, and long white hair tied into a ceremonial braid. Her eyes, a soft silver, locked onto his face, and she didn't look away. Sorelia was her name. She was the youngest scholar among the Veltraxian heritage keepers, trained to remember ancient knowledge and protect forgotten truths. Today, she was simply supposed to attend the welcoming event, nothing more. But the moment she saw him, everything changed. Her heart raced. She stepped forward slowly, as if her feet weren't touching the ground. Her voice trembled. She didn't shout. She didn't greet him with formality. She whispered the words like they were a prayer from a forgotten time. "You can't be real. You're a legend." Cole blinked. "Sorry. What?" Her voice was almost shaking now. "The eyes. The mark on your neck. The way you stand." He tilted his head, completely lost. "I think there's a misunderstanding. I'm just here for the peace talks." But Sorelia didn't answer. She took another step closer, ignoring the guards who were watching nervously from the shadows. She had seen paintings, carvings, and dream visions passed down from her ancestors. There had been one story, one human, who arrived hundreds of cycles ago. A warrior who warned of destruction, fought alongside them, then vanished into the stars. Everyone called it a myth, but the face from those ancient paintings was standing right in front of her. Cole was about to speak again when the Grand Speaker of Veltrax finally stepped between them, breaking the silence. "Welcome, human," he said in a formal tone, clearly trying to bring the situation back to normal. "We are honored by your arrival. Please, follow us to the hall." Cole nodded, still feeling eyes on him from all directions. He didn't know what just happened, but he followed. Sorelia stood still for a few more seconds. Then she turned and followed as well, her mind racing. Inside the Grand Dome, High Council members took their places. Cole was led to the central platform, where the discussions would be held. Everything was beautiful. Floating lights, carved memory stones, even fresh air pumped in from mountain winds. But Cole noticed it again. Everyone kept looking at him strangely. Not with hate, with awe, respect, fear. He leaned toward his assistant, whispering, "Why is everyone acting like I'm a ghost?" His assistant shrugged. "You're the first human they've seen in person. Maybe that's it. Maybe." But Cole wasn't so sure. At the back of the room, Sorelia stood silently, her fingers gripping a crystal tablet. She wasn't focused on the speech or the welcoming ceremony. Her eyes were locked on him. She had to know more. Who was this human? How could he look so perfectly like the man from the old stories, down to the smallest details? And if the story was real, then the darkness the legend warned about might also be real. Later that evening, Cole stood near a balcony inside the guest tower, looking out at the glowing city of Veltrax 9. The skyline shimmered under twin moons, the buildings shaped like rising crystal towers. It should have felt peaceful, but something about the way everyone stared at him still bothered him. Why had that alien girl said those words? "You're a legend." He shook his head. That made no sense. He was born on Earth, raised by normal parents, trained in exploration and diplomacy. There were no family stories of space warriors or ancient battles, just a regular human life. Still, her voice, soft and serious, echoed in his mind. As he turned to go back inside, the door behind him slid open quietly. It was her. Sarelia. She had changed out of her ceremonial robes. Now she wore a simpler, elegant outfit, her silver eyes still fixed on him like she was studying a puzzle that refused to solve itself. "I hope I'm not disturbing you," she said gently. Cole gave a small smile. "Not at all. Actually, I wanted to talk to you. I thought you might." She stepped onto the balcony beside him. The air between them held a strange tension, something old and mysterious. "You said something earlier," he began, "something about me being a legend." Sarelia nodded slowly. "Yes, I shouldn't have said it out loud, but I had to. You look exactly like him." "Like who?" She hesitated, then pulled a small holo crystal from her pouch. She activated it with her palm, and an image floated in the air between them. It was a painting. Faded, cracked, but clearly visible. A man. Human. He wore armor made of a strange metal. His face was serious, eyes glowing with determination, and he had the same jawline, the same birthmark under his left ear. Cole leaned closer, stunned. That's not possible." "This image is over 300 cycles old," she explained, "passed down through my family. A story of a human who saved our world from collapse. A man who came from the stars, helped build our defenses, then vanished before the war ended." Cole stared at the image. "So you think I'm him?" "No," Sarelia replied. "I know you're not the same person. But somehow, you are connected. Maybe his descendant. Maybe something else." He looked away, trying to process it. "I've never been here before," he said slowly. "I don't remember anyone in my family ever talking about aliens or saving planets." "Still," she said softly, "your DNA, your face, your presence, it's like the story walked out of a dream. I'm not the only one who noticed. That's why everyone stared at you today." Cole rubbed the back of his neck. "What else does the story say?" Sarelia closed her eyes for a moment, as if repeating ancient words in her mind. "He came during a time of great fear. A shadow was growing beyond the stars. Our scientists warned us, but no one believed. Then, the human arrived. He helped build a defense network and taught us how to unite. He gave us hope. When the danger passed, he vanished, leaving behind nothing but silence." She opened her eyes. "The story says he'll return if the shadow ever rises again." Cole chuckled nervously. "And you think that's me?" Sarelia didn't smile. "I don't know what I think, but I know this isn't a coincidence." Silence hung between them. The only sound was the distant hum of airships and soft wind rustling through glowing trees. Finally, Cole spoke. "Do you think this shadow is coming back?" Sarelia hesitated. "Maybe. There have been signals, shifts in energy near the edge of our system. The elders say it's nothing. But the timing of your arrival, it feels like a warning." Cole took a deep breath. "If what you say is true, then I need to know more." Her eyes lit up with a mix of hope and fear. "There's a place, deep beneath the capital. The Forbidden Archives. The oldest records are hidden there. Things the council doesn't want outsiders, or even some locals, to see. And you can take me there." "I can try," she said. "But it's dangerous. They don't like people digging into the past. Some say the truth was buried for a reason." Cole looked at the glowing image of the ancient human again. He didn't believe in legends, but now he had to. "Then let's go," he said firmly. "If I'm part of this story, I want to know how it ends." The air in the forbidden archives was thick with silence, the kind that seemed to swallow any sound. As Cole and Sorelia entered, the grand doors of the ancient chamber slowly closed behind them, cutting off the distant hum of Veltrax IX's city. Inside, it was darker than expected, lit only by faint, glowing blue lines carved into the stone walls. These veins of light pulsed with an ancient rhythm, as if the archives themselves were alive, watching their every move. Cole's boots echoed on the cold stone floor, his eyes scanning the room. The space stretched out before him, a vast hall filled with rows upon rows of old, dust-covered tablets, holographic screens, and ancient scrolls. Some of the tablets displayed images of alien creatures and distant stars, while others were covered in strange symbols that he couldn't understand. "What is this place?" Cole whispered, his voice reverberating off the stone. Sorelia's silver eyes flicked around nervously. "This is where we keep the secrets we don't want to remember. It's the heart of our history, but it's also dangerous. The Council has forbidden us from coming here, but I have no choice now." Cole glanced at her. "Why? What are they hiding?" Sorelia didn't answer right away. Instead, she walked toward a corner of the room, where a large stone pedestal stood. On top of the pedestal lay a small glowing orb. It pulsed with a soft blue light, and it seemed to call to her. "This orb is one of the most sacred objects in Veltraxian history," she said quietly. "It contains the first records of our people, but only a few know its full meaning." Cole moved closer, his curiosity piqued. "What does it say?" Sorelia hesitated. "It's said to contain the truth of the legend. The one you look like, the human who vanished after saving our people." She turned the orb slowly, her fingers tracing its smooth surface. The air around them grew colder, the hum of energy in the room becoming louder. "I never understood why the legend mattered so much," she continued, "until I saw you. Now, I fear we're about to learn something we weren't meant to know." Before Cole could ask anything else, Sorelia placed her hand on the orb, and the glowing lines in the room suddenly brightened. The walls around them flickered to life with images, vivid, almost real, of a battle fought long ago. Cole gasped as a vision appeared before him. He saw himself, but it wasn't him. The human warrior stood, holding a glowing weapon, surrounded by Veltraxians and strange alien creatures. He was leading them into battle against a dark force, something vast and terrifying, like a storm moving through the stars. Cole could feel the heat of the conflict, the energy of the warrior's every movement. This was him," Cole whispered, his heart pounding. Sorelia nodded, her eyes wide with fear. Yes, he was the one who fought against the darkness. But the legend never spoke of how he came back. They said he just disappeared. But now I see it. The story isn't finished. The vision in the orb shifted. The warrior, bloodied and tired, stood alone against the void devourer, a swirling mass of shadow that seemed to consume everything in its path. The warrior raised his weapon, and for a brief moment, the storm paused. He made a final strike, and the dark force recoiled. Then, the image blurred, and a new one appeared. This time, the warrior was surrounded by a group of Veltraxians. They were celebrating, cheering. But in his hand was a strange device, a beacon, one that looked like the weapon Cole had seen in his dream. This was how he left, Sorelia explained, her voice trembling. He activated the beacon and vanished, leaving no trace behind. But the beacon, this device, was meant to signal a return if the darkness ever rose again. Cole's mind raced. And now it's back. The void devourer, that's what you've been feeling. Sorelia turned to him, her face pale. "Yes, the signals from the edge of our system. They're not random. The void devourer is coming again." Cole clenched his fists. The weight of the situation pressed down on him, but he could feel the truth settling in. He had to be part of this. He had to understand what the warrior before him had left behind. "I don't understand," Cole said. "Why did he disappear? Why leave us all behind?" Sorelia looked at the orb one more time, her eyes filled with sadness. I think he had to. The war with the Devourer was too much. He was a human, and no one knew how to fight it. But he made a promise, to return if the darkness came back." Cole stared at the orb, then back at Sorelia. "And now it's my turn." Sorelia nodded solemnly. "Yes, if you are his descendant, or if you are the one the prophecy speaks of, then you are the one who must face it. You must lead us again." The room grew quiet as the glow from the orb dimmed. The vision faded, and the stone walls returned to their cold silence. Cole looked down at his hands. He wasn't a warrior. He wasn't even sure he believed in legends, but something inside him had changed. This was his fight now, and he had no choice but to face it. "I'll do it," he said, his voice steady. "But I need to know everything. I need to be ready." Sorelia nodded, her face filled with a mix of hope and fear. "Then we begin. Together." The following days on Veltrax 9 felt heavy, like the planet itself was holding its breath. Cole stood at the balcony of his quarters, gazing out over the city. The twin moons above cast long shadows, but the usual calm serenity had been replaced by a growing sense of unease. The atmosphere was tense. No one dared to speak openly of the Void Devourer, but its shadow loomed over everything. He wasn't sure why, but ever since the vision in the Forbidden Archives, Cole had felt an odd pull toward the ancient stories. His mind kept replaying the images from the orb, the warrior from the past, and the fierce battle against the dark force. The warrior had vanished, leaving behind nothing but a promise, and now the same force was returning. The question was, why had it taken so long? And why was he, a simple human, the one who had to face it? Sorelia had been busy, working with the council, and trying to gather more information about the Devourer's return. She had become more distant, consumed by her task. But Cole knew that she shared his fear, the fear that they were not ready, that they were not strong enough to face the darkness. He turned away from the view and walked toward the door. The sound of footsteps echoed in the hallway, and he paused. "Sorelia," he said as she entered. She looked worn, but her eyes still held the same intensity they had when they first met. "I've learned something," she said, her voice tense. "The Void Devourer is closer than we thought. The signals we've been receiving from the edge of the system, there's no doubt now. It's coming, and it's faster than we anticipated." Cole's heart sank. He could feel the weight of her words. "What do we do now?" "We prepare," Sorelia replied firmly. "The council has already started moving the civilian population to the safe zones, but it won't be enough. We need to build a defense, stronger than anything we've ever had before. We need you, Cole." He nodded. "I'm ready. I've always been ready, but how do I fight something like this? I don't even know what the Void Devourer is." Sorelia hesitated. "It's not just a force of destruction. It feeds on fear, on chaos. It destroys entire worlds by turning them into nothingness. It's not just an enemy. It's a plague. A force that can make even the strongest beings cower in terror." "Then why did the warrior fight it?" Cole asked. "If it's so powerful, what makes me the right one to face it?" She stepped closer, her gaze intense. "The legend says that the human who faced the Devourer was a symbol, a beacon of hope. He didn't just fight with weapons, he fought with courage. He gave others the strength to stand tall, even when all seemed lost. That's what you must do. You're not just here to defeat the Devourer. You're here to inspire." Cole's stomach twisted. The pressure was growing, but he couldn't back down now. Not after everything he had learned. He had to believe he could be the one to bring hope. Days passed quickly as preparations continued. Cole and Sorelia spent hours training, reviewing ancient battle strategies and studying the remnants of the technology the first human warrior had left behind. Each piece of knowledge brought them closer to understanding how to fight the Devourer, but each discovery also made the danger feel more real. The reports from the edge of the system came in faster, and the darkness loomed closer. Veltrax Nine's people were ready to fight, but the fear in their eyes couldn't be hidden. The worst part for Cole was knowing that they had no idea how long they had before the Devourer would arrive. One evening, as they were going over battle plans, Sorelia turned to Cole with a serious expression. "There's something else you need to know." He raised an eyebrow. "What is it?" She reached into her pouch and pulled out another holo crystal. This was hidden in the archives, a message from the original warrior himself. She placed it on the table, and the image flickered to life. The same human warrior appeared, his face solemn and determined. "Humanity," he said in a calm but steady voice. "You are not alone. The darkness will return, and when it does, I will not be there to lead you. But you are stronger than you realize. In the heart of every human is the power to inspire, the power to resist. Do not let the shadows claim your hearts. The light you carry will always guide you home." Cole listened carefully to the message. The words resonated deeply, as if the warrior's spirit were speaking directly to him. "You must never forget who you are," the warrior continued. "You are not just soldiers or diplomats. You are humans, and there is nothing the universe can throw at you that you cannot overcome." As the message ended, Sorelia looked up at Cole. "He believed in you, in all of you." Cole stood still for a moment, processing the message. The warrior's voice had been calm, but filled with strength. The courage that Cole needed to fight wasn't something he could find in a weapon or a battle plan. It was inside him already. He turned to Sorelia, his voice strong. "We'll fight this together. I don't know if we'll win, but I'll make sure no one gives up." Sorelia smiled for the first time in days. "That's all we need, Cole. Hope." The days on Veltrax 9 were growing darker. With every passing hour, the atmosphere became more oppressive. The signs of the Void Devourer's approach were unmistakable. The city's lights flickered ominously at night, and every corner seemed to hum with a strange, unsettling energy. Cole had never felt fear like this before, but he was determined to keep moving forward. Inside the war room, the council was in full session, discussing final preparations for the impending battle. Veltrax 9's leaders had mobilized their fleet, but even the best technology the planet had to offer didn't seem like enough. The Void Devourer was unlike anything they had faced before. An unstoppable force, a void of darkness that consumed everything it touched. Cole stood at the front of the room, his eyes scanning the holographic display of the galaxy. The projection showed a trail of destruction, stars dimming and planets cracking under the Devourer's weight. He could feel the pressure building inside him. He wasn't just part of this fight now. He was the last hope. Sorelia entered the room, her expression focused and serious. She walked straight to Cole and lowered her voice. "I found something." Cole turned to her, his heart skipping a beat. "What is it?" She handed him a small data pad, her fingers trembling slightly. "It's a map, a location. I didn't want to tell you before, but I think this is where the human warrior left something important." Cole's brow furrowed. "You mean something he left behind?" "Yes," Sorelia said, nodding. "It's a hidden chamber beneath the ruins of the ancient temple. The legends say it contains the final weapon, a relic capable of sealing the Void Devourer. But it's not just a weapon. It's something more." Cole looked at her, his mind racing. "Do you think it will work? Will it be enough?" "I don't know," Sorelia admitted, "but we have no other choice. The Council believes we're going to lose this battle. They've already begun evacuating civilians. But her voice faltered for a moment. "I believe in the legend. I believe in you." Cole met her gaze, feeling the weight of her words settle into his chest. He wasn't just a soldier. He wasn't just a symbol of hope. He was the one who could make a difference. And now, with time running out, he had to act. "We're going to find it," he said firmly. "We're going to find the weapon, and we're going to stop the devourer." The journey to the ancient temple was long, taking them through dense forests and across rocky, desolate landscapes. The further they traveled, the more the atmosphere seemed to change. The air grew colder, and the very ground beneath their feet seemed to hum with a low, almost imperceptible vibration. It was as though the planet itself was reacting to the approaching darkness. Cole and Sorelia made their way to the temple ruins in silence, the weight of the task ahead hanging over them. As they reached the temple's entrance, the structure loomed above them, its jagged edges reaching up into the sky like broken fingers. The walls were covered in ancient symbols, worn and faded by time, but still holding the secrets of a forgotten era. "This is it," Sorelia whispered, her voice filled with reverence. "This is where it all began." Cole took a deep breath and stepped forward. The doors of the temple creaked open as they approached, revealing the vast, dark interior. The air inside was thick with dust, the smell of old stone and forgotten history. They moved cautiously, their footsteps echoing off the walls. At the center of the temple, they found a large pedestal, its surface covered in intricate carvings. On top of the pedestal rested a glowing stone, radiating a soft, ethereal light. The stone was smooth, its surface glowing with a faint, pulsating energy. Cole's heart skipped a beat. This had to be it, the relic the warrior had left behind. The answer they had been searching for. Sorelia stepped forward, her eyes filled with awe. "This is it, the final weapon." Cole reached out, his hand trembling slightly as he touched the stone. The moment his fingers made contact, a surge of energy shot through his body, sending a jolt of power rushing into his chest. His vision blurred for a moment, and he gasped, stumbling back. "What's happening?" Sorelia asked, her voice filled with concern. Cole steadied himself, his breathing heavy. "I don't know. It's alive. Like it's recognizing me." The stone pulsed again, and suddenly, a voice filled the room. It was deep, resonant, and filled with ancient power. "You are the one," the voice said, "the one chosen to face the darkness, the flame of hope." Cole felt the power surge within him, the stone's energy intertwining with his own. The relic was responding to him, unlocking something inside of him that he didn't fully understand. But one thing was clear: this was his fight. The legacy of the human warrior was now his responsibility. The stone's light flared brightly, illuminating the entire chamber. The air hummed with energy, and Cole could feel the presence of the warrior's spirit guiding him. "You are the flame," the voice continued, "the one who will ignite the resistance. Take the flame and lead them to victory." Cole nodded, feeling the weight of the task ahead. The time had come. The darkness was almost upon them, but with this power, they might stand a chance. "We're ready," Cole said, his voice steady and filled with determination. "Let's finish this." The planet of Veltrax 9 had never felt so heavy. The dark cloud of the Void Devourer loomed at the edge of the galaxy, its tendrils of shadow creeping closer with every passing moment. Cole could feel the pressure building around him, the weight of the situation bearing down on his shoulders. He had the relic, the power, but the real battle had yet to begin. Sorelia stood beside him on the edge of the main command center, looking out at the fleet gathered in the distance. The air was thick with tension, the city quiet except for the hum of engines preparing for the coming war. Veltrax 9's defenses were strong, but the Devourer was unlike any force they had ever faced. No one knew how to fight something that consumed not just life, but hope itself. "We have one shot at this," Cole said, his voice steady but laced with the uncertainty they both felt. "If we can't stop it now, there won't be anything left to fight for." Sorelia nodded, her eyes never leaving the distant horizon. "I know. The warriors, the fleet, they're ready to fight. But we need to do more than just hold them off. The Devourer doesn't just destroy, it infects everything around it. We can't let it spread." Cole clenched his fists. He could feel the power from the relic pulsing inside him, but it was a wild, untamed force. The voice from the stone had told him he was the flame, the one who would lead the resistance. But what if the flame wasn't enough? Suddenly, the deep rumble of the sky shifting caught their attention. A shadow moved across the surface of the moon. And then, without warning, a massive darkness engulfed the stars. The Void Devourer had arrived. The fleet's warning sirens blared. The skies above Veltrax 9 twisted, as though the fabric of space itself was being ripped apart. Ships took to the air, and soldiers rushed to their positions, preparing for a battle they weren't sure they could win. "This is it," Cole said, his heart racing. "Cerelia, what's the plan?" She turned to him, her silver eyes filled with determination. "We need to make it to the heart of the battle. The ancient relic, the one you hold. It's the only weapon that can face the Devourer. But you won't be alone. We'll fight together." They quickly made their way to the center of the command center, where the rest of the leaders were gathered. The tension was palpable, every person knowing that this could be the last stand for Veltrax 9. Everyone, from the seasoned commanders to the young recruits, was ready for the fight. But Cole could see the doubt in their eyes. They were scared. And who could blame them? The Void Devourer was not just an enemy. It was a force of nature. It destroyed everything it touched. People didn't just die when it arrived. They disappeared, as if they never existed. As Cole entered the room, he saw the council members giving him uncertain glances. They didn't know him, but they knew the legend. They didn't know if the human warrior from the stories had returned, or if this was just another myth. But Cole knew. He had the power now, and he wasn't going to let the galaxy fall into darkness. "We fight," he said, his voice steady and clear. "We fight with everything we have. We may not have a second chance, but we'll make this one count." The room fell silent for a moment, and then the murmurs began. They were afraid, but they were also starting to believe. They had to. Outside, the massive fleet of Veltrax 9's warriors took to the sky. Cole stood at the front of the command platform, looking at the sky as the dark mass of the Devourer advanced. He could feel it, like a old, suffocating weight pulling at his chest. It was almost like the air itself was alive, hungry, and waiting for its next meal. The fleet moved into position, ships spreading out to form a defensive line. But Cole knew that no amount of firepower would be enough to stop what was coming. They needed something more, something that could turn the tide. "Ready the weapon," Cole said, his voice cutting through the chaos. "We have to get close enough to use it. Cerelia, you're with me." She nodded and led him to the back of the command center, where a small shuttle waited for them. The other soldiers, including the fleet's best pilots, took their positions, but Cole's focus was on one thing: getting to the heart of the Devourer's mass. If he could get close enough, if he could use the relic correctly, then they could stop it. But it wouldn't be easy. As they boarded the shuttle, Cole looked at the fleet one last time. The warships, lined up in formation, were ready. The battle was about to begin. Cerelia activated the shuttle's engines, and they lifted off into the sky, joining the battle already unfolding above Veltrax 9. The shuttle raced toward the dark void that consumed the stars, the Devourer's power clearly visible as it spread outward like a tidal wave. "Brace yourself," Cerelia said, her voice tight with urgency. "We're almost there." Cole tightened his grip on the relic, feeling its power surge within him. The air around them seemed to warp, the dark tendrils of the Devourer reaching out, as if trying to swallow the shuttle whole. Then, with a sudden jolt, they were inside the heart of the darkness. The shuttle shook violently, but Cole held steady. He could see the mass ahead, an enormous swirling storm of shadow and energy. The Devourer itself was a vast, monstrous presence, its form shifting and swirling in impossible ways. "This is it," Cole said, looking at Cerelia. Together, they activated the relic. The power inside Cole surged, and the light from the stone flared brightly, filling the shuttle with a brilliant glow. The air inside the shuttle crackled with raw energy. Cole's heart pounded as the relic's power surged through him. He could feel the intensity growing, the energy rising, and for the first time since the moment he touched the stone, he understood what it meant to truly carry the weight of the legend. Cyrelia sat beside him, her hands gripping the controls with a fierce determination. Her silver eyes were locked on the swirling mass of the Devourer ahead, the heart of the darkness. She knew what was at stake, and there was no turning back. "We need to get closer," Cole said, his voice steady despite the rising storm around them. "I can feel it. The relic, it's pulling me." She didn't hesitate. The shuttle lurched forward, cutting through the dark cloud of the Devourer. The closer they got, the more the air seemed to bend and twist around them. The shuttle's shields flickered under the strain, but Cyrelia pushed the engines harder, determined to reach the center. As they neared the heart of the Devourer, a wave of darkness struck the shuttle, shaking it violently. The control panel sparked, and the lights dimmed, but Cyrelia held fast. She was a skilled pilot, and she knew that if they didn't make it into the center of the storm, they wouldn't stand a chance. "We're almost there," she called, her voice tight with urgency. Cole's grip on the relic tightened as the stone pulsed with energy. He could feel it now, the presence of the Devourer, the deep, suffocating hunger that seemed to drain everything it touched. It was as if the very fabric of reality was starting to tear apart, and only one thing could hold it together. As they broke through the final layer of shadow, a vast, swirling vortex opened before them, the core of the Devourer. It was a massive, chaotic storm of energy and darkness, shifting constantly, as if it were alive. Tendrils of shadow lashed out at the shuttle, but they were absorbed by the relic's light, a shield that surrounded them. "We're inside," Cyrelia shouted over the roar of the storm. "What now, Cole?" Cole's eyes narrowed. He could feel the power of the relic in his hands, and in that moment, everything clicked. The legend, the stories, the ancient warrior, it was all leading to this. He had to stop the Devourer, not just with strength, but with courage, just like the warrior before him. "This is it," Cole said, standing up from his seat. He held the relic high above his head, feeling the energy build inside him. "I am the flame." A brilliant light erupted from the relic, flooding the shuttle with pure power. The darkness around them recoiled, the storm of the Devourer trembling. The light from the relic was stronger than anything Cole had ever felt. It surged through him, through the ship, and into the very heart of the Devourer. "No!" A voice boomed in the distance, echoing through the storm. It was deep and cold, filled with ancient fury. "You cannot stop me, human. I am eternal." Cole's voice rang out, unwavering. "I am humanity, and we will not bow to darkness." He focused all the energy of the relic, pouring his will into the stone. The light grew brighter, filling the entire space around them. The shadows shrank back, the storm beginning to break apart. The Devourer screamed in rage, but it was too late. The power of the relic was too strong. The light from the relic expanded outward, engulfing the Devourer's core. The storm twisted violently, as if it were being pulled apart by an invisible force. The energy inside the relic was overwhelming, pushing back the darkness with unstoppable force. The storm of the Devourer began to dissipate, the tendrils of shadow fading as the light overtook them. Cole felt a surge of triumph, but it was quickly replaced with exhaustion. The relic's energy was intense, but he held on, knowing he couldn't let go now. The Devourer was weakening. The darkness was retreating. Then, just as suddenly as it had arrived, the storm was gone. The shuttle was still, suspended in the now quiet space. The once churning mass of shadows had vanished, leaving nothing but a vast emptiness where the Devourer had been. Cole collapsed into his seat, breathing heavily. The relic's glow faded, and the power that had filled him slowly drained away. But the battle was over. The Devourer was gone. Cyrelia sat beside him, her eyes wide with disbelief and awe. "You did it. You really did it." Cole looked at her, a tired smile forming on his face. We did it. Together. Cerelia's eyes softened. I never truly believed the legends. I thought they were just stories. But you proved them true. You're the one who came back. Cole sat back, his hand still trembling from the power of the relic. I'm just human. But sometimes that's enough. They sat in silence for a moment, the enormity of what had just happened settling over them. The galaxy was safe. Veltrax 9 was safe, and Cole had done what no one else could. As the shuttle drifted back toward Veltrax 9, the first rays of sunlight began to break through the clouds. It was a new day. And the legend was real.